Hey, what's happening? Happy Monday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I've been going through different stories. I'm still gonna do a video about something Trump posted or re-truth on his Truth Social this weekend. He was on another rant, and he posted something about civil war in this country, and just stop. We become so accustomed to the insanity that is Donald Trump. Think about that. A former president of the United States, and in my opinion, this was promoting the downfall of this country because he can't admit that he lost the election in 2020. That sums it up right there. So I'm going to do a video on that. But I started thinking about yesterday's video I did. And I usually don't look at the data on YouTube Studio until at least 24 hours goes by. I don't check it all the time. I just let it be, and whatever views it gets, it gets. So I checked it this morning, and it got, I never know. Sometimes I think I'll get over 1,000 views, and it gets under 100, or vice versa. You guys always surprise me. I never know if a video, if it's going to strike a chord or not. And it got some views. And I started thinking about yesterday's video. And there was a point in yesterday's video where I used the word nationality because there was 4 people, aggressors, yelling, screaming at me on empty streets, 6:30 in the morning. And they were coming towards me, screaming, trying to get my attention, aggressive. And I talked about, I said the word nationality. And as soon as I said it, I knew I meant race. And it was a Caucasian girl, a Caucasian guy. I think it was a Spanish American guy and a black guy. Pretty much the makeup of the country. And I thought about how I talked about that, and I wanted to explain it, but I don't know how to explain it. In a second, I felt these people were aggressors, and I had to figure out who was in charge, like I explained in yesterday's video. The alpha, the beta. That's I don't even like using those words, alpha and beta. It's more the leader and the second in command. That's what I would call them. And I mentioned, and I still can't really explain how the race fits in, but it's just a snapshot of the group. Their physical demeanor, their size, the way they're standing, who's out in front, who's making the noise, their positioning as they're walking, their race, their everything, what they're wearing, to quickly get a snapshot of who I'm going to deal with first. That was my point in yesterday's video when I mentioned nationality instead of race. But anyway, I mentioned in yesterday's video how I know these guys because I was these guys, and that is the truth. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in today's video. Now, I am not bragging here. There is a point to this. For a short time, when I was in my 20s, my late teens and early 20s, I was the leader of a group like this, a bigger group than this, a gang. And I don't say this. There's going to be a lesson to be learned here. I don't know. I don't know if it was my size. As I got into my around 20 years old, I met some people. I was experimenting with drugs, and I met some people, and I just by pure chance, I made connections in New York and New Jersey. And I ended up traveling to New York and New Jersey every week, and to kind of go on business trips, let's say. This is not something I'm proud of. Like I said, this would end up leading to my entire downfall, my addiction for 20 years. But I used to go down to the South Bronx, to Brooklyn, to the area right near Yankee Stadium, Harlem, 140th Street in Upper Manhattan, and I would go there on what I'm going to call business each week. And the people that my best friends in high school, my buddies that I had known all through school, went to college, in the Army, and I lost track of them. And then they heard that I was getting on the wrong side of things and stuff, and I no longer had the friends, my lifelong friends. And I started hanging around with another group that was a couple years younger than me. And they looked at me like a leader. At that point, at 20 years old, I had 21 years old. I had graduated from technical school, and I was renting my own house at 21 years old, seven-room house. I had a fast car, a 73 Formula Firebird, an insanely beautiful orange hood scoops, beautiful car. I had a beautiful girlfriend, a couple of beautiful girlfriends, not at the same time, but one after another. And I noticed that these guys that were a couple of years younger than me had this allegiance to me, and we ended up forming a gang where I would go down to New York and New Jersey on Friday afternoon, Friday morning, and I'd come back. I ended up getting fired from the job, my architectural job that I'd gone to school for. I lost everything basically, and then I started moving into this other life. And when I saw those guys yesterday, it reminded me of 2 or 3 of the guys I used to hang around with that were my second in command. There was this guy called Bobby, I'll call him. And, he was smaller than me, but he was the guy that was yelling yesterday. He would have been that guy, the second in command. I would have probably been the more beefy guy with the work clothes when I took the guy I talked about yesterday, the alpha. And Bobby used to be my enforcer, I guess. I never used that word back then, but that's what I would say. Bobby he scared me. I never admitted this. The people that were we were friends. We were best friends back then. But it was a gang, and I would come back from New York and New Jersey and throw parties in this house where I would dish out the stuff that I brought back from New York and New Jersey. And I thought these people were there. I thought it was all about me, and they were there because of my personality, and they admired me, they feared me, but it was all about drugs. In the end, it was all about the drugs. And once this group of people got away from the drugs, and I got more into the drugs, I became the loser of the group, the outcast. And subsequently, I had a trip to the hospital after getting my ass kicked by the same bunch of people. And that was, that's how this all turned out. But my second in command, the guy, when I looked at that bunch of kids, but they weren't kids, they were in their 20s yesterday, that one that was yelling reminded me so much of this guy that used to hang out with me. I had seen him, I don't know on how many occasions. He was very loud, and he would be that guy yelling, and he would want people to come at him. And usually somebody would come up to him and go like, you got a problem? When I've talked about this in our videos, like, don't ever do that. Don't push, don't talk smack. If you're going to do something, do it. And this is part of the reason where I got that. Somebody would, Bobby would antagonize somebody, like yelling, like that guy yesterday. And somebody would come up to him, hey, you got a problem with her? And Bobby just had lightning fast fists. He was probably 60 pounds lighter than me, but he was skinny and lean and fast. And I would just watch in amazement where he would just go left, right, and bap, 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 and just drop somebody like a sack of potatoes out cold. I saw this, I don't know, at least a dozen times, and he had his allegiance to me, but to be honest, looking back, I was scared of this guy. On several occasions, we play fight, me and then there was another guy, Jay. Jay looked like Kip Winger. He was the ladies' man, and so there was Bobby, the enforcer type, the crazy enforcer type, and then Jay, the ladies' man. I think he wasn't even 20, and he had tattoos everywhere. Hair looked like Bon Jovi kind of. And we would play around, play fight. And I don't know if I got lucky or what, but there were certain things that enforced my leadership, my superiority of these guys, that made them follow me. One time I arm wrestled Jay, and we were stuck in the middle. Neither one of us was winning, and we heard a crack. And it turns out later they would say I broke his arm. I guess it was a stress fracture, a hairline stress fracture from us arm wrestling. But this turned into an urban legend where Daryl broke Jay's arm. And it was stories like this that, look, at the time, even back then, I never said it, but I was like, I just got lucky. And I always wondered when if and when this pact of my friends turned on me, what would happen. I saw the way Bobby decimated people, just this sheer just speed and power, and just dropping people without just a dead look in his eyes. And it scared the bejesus out of me. I never said that back then. And one time, Jay, he was fooling around. He came up running behind me, and I just got lucky. I grabbed his arm, and I turned around and flipped him, and it was like some kind of beautiful karate move that I just got lucky on. And he went flying up over me and landed in a puddle and broke his collarbone. So now, and then on top of that, I had broken a nose here or there. So I got this reputation for breaking people's bones. And that wasn't me. You guys, even though I was just a person that had a substance abuse problem, really. I had gotten in altercations a lot of times, and I learned how to protect myself adequately. But a lot of times I looked at the guys around me, the guys that followed me, as even crazier than me. In the end, I went further down, and I started using more, and the other guys got out of it, and I became the outcast. And looking back, the only reason these guys followed me was because of, at that time, I had what they wanted. The stuff, the substances that I would go down to New York and New Jersey. And it was just this false persona that was built up around me because of the drugs. These people weren't my friends. And ultimately, I ended up being the outcast and ending up in the hospital. So this is the point. There is no real friendship when you come to groups like this that are based on things other than love and honesty and truth. Other than that, it's something that is false and will go away, and will go away at the worst time. All right, I see I'm running along. I hope I made some sense. I just wanted to add to yesterday's video about how I as soon as I saw this group yesterday, I saw myself. I saw myself and Jay and Bobby and all the rest of the guys. I'm going to post a picture from these days at the house I rented. It was in my bedroom. This picture will be from my bedroom, and it was at maybe 4 a.m. And I'm a mess. And there's a guy next to me playing my guitar, and there's the girl of the night, the girl of the week, sitting at the foot of the bed. I'll put that picture in the thumbnails, so you get a look at. When I look back, I say to myself, never again. And thank God it wasn't worse than it was. Thank God I didn't end up dead or in jail. All right, you guys have a good Monday.